So you're looking for a sales training course that's going to help you sell more jewelry? Well, you've found the right video. This is part number 5, covering objections and how to handle them correctly. Now, if you make sure to watch through to the end of the video, you're going to hear a few little hints about what you're going to expect in part number 6 of this 10-part course. Now, if you have not seen part number 4 as well, make sure to click that link right up here in the corner of the screen. Make sure to click that link now, watch through part number 4 before continuing with this video. This way, everything really makes sense. It's a 10-part series for a reason. You need to follow through with all of it. And if you haven't met me as well, my name's Levon and I'm the owner of this YouTube channel, Crew Goes Digital. On this channel, I'm focused on bringing you techniques, skill sets, and personal development tips to help increase your success and income within the luxury retail industry. Not in decades, not in years, not in months, not even in weeks, but right now. So consider subscribing to the channel if you are in that industry or you're looking at getting into that industry too. Now, why should you really be listening to me as well? Well, I was a port and shopping guide. So previous to COVID hitting the cruise industry, you have tray after tray of settings to pick. This is the Levian around for a shopping emergency. And destroying that, I was working on board cruise ships, and my job was to tell people where to shop in each one of the ports the cruise ship would go to. So now I would be the one person on board everyone would go to for that advice. So I have been telling people for a long time where to shop and how to shop, especially for luxury goods. Now, one of the big things is though, think about the objections I was having to come up against. I was having to come up against swimming with the dolphins, zip lining in Jamaica, eating Mexican food in Mexico, on top of the common objections you hear when working in a jewelry store as well. So that is really why you need to really listen in close during this video. I'm going to give you a great little overview of what is to come. Number 1, we're going to be talking about the I don't have time right now, that objection. You know what I'm talking about. Number 2, we're going to be talking about the price. Of course, you're going to hear the price objection over and over and over. And then number 3, my husband, my wife, they're not here at the moment, so I can't do it. But you know what? I really like you. You've told me a lot about this, and I think you've given me a great deal. So I'm going to come back and see you when I've spoken to them, though. Yeah, I'm going to cover each one of these and how to deal with it. But before I get into that, comment down below and let me know what is the number 1 objection you hear from your customers, because maybe I'll be able to address that in a video in the future at some point as well. So make sure to leave that comment down below. All right, now let's start. I don't have time. I want to give you some ideas as well if you haven't been working in a jewelry store, so this way you can be prepared for what you are going to hear a lot of. My friend's next door. And because my friend's next door, I'm just in here, I'm in the store just waiting on them. I want to, I'm just going to have a little look around. They'll be here any moment, so don't worry about me. Just let me, do my thing, you do your thing, and that's it. All right, or I'm just having a quick look. So, don't worry about me. You do what you have to do. I'm just going to have a quick little look around. I'll let you know if I see something. Or you have I'm just having a look through. And you know what, I'll let you know if I need some help. But I never buy anything when I come into these jewelry stores. I always just imagine that one day I'll be able to get a piece of jewelry like that. Maybe I'm doing a little bit more because I'm just explaining to you kind of the objections that I hear, but how funny it is that people just let this go and they don't actually come up with something to deal with them. And how, first of all, what I'd recommend is first you need to agree with the customer. It's like, oh, that's perfect. You know what? Lots of people, when they come into the store, they're just in here having a little look around while their friends are shopping next door as well. But let me ask you though, how much time do you think you have before your friend gets here? Do you think it would be like 10 minutes, 5 minutes, or even less than that as well, before you have to go? And now the customer will say maybe 5 minutes, and then all you simply do is say, excellent. You know what, in less than 5 minutes, I can show you any piece that you would like in the store. You can try it on, you can tell me if you like it, in less than 5 minutes. So would you like me to give you a suggestion, or do you have something particular in mind? right? So you're agreeing, you're listening to the customer, you're basically repeating back to them what they have said, and you're telling them, yep, we have a solution for that as well, because I can show you anything you like in the store in less than that amount of time as well. And of course, you giving the suggestion as well is going to be key. Like if you can give the suggestion, that's perfect. You can take the customer based on, you know, what it is, what their style kind of looks like as well. And it's just really getting them to try something on while they're even there, even if it is in 5 minutes. And you know what? If the customer really likes it, the 5 minutes, they'll forget about that and they'll be like, oh, and then their friend will eventually come into the store as well looking for them. So that's even better because now you have 2 people that you can be helping compared to just the one alone. But that's really what I would say. Of course, I'm going very general here though as well, but if you have a specific type of time stall objection that you're getting when working in a store, let me know again down in the comments and I'll address that in a further video in the future. Now let's move on to number 2 is going to be the price objection, the one that we always dread hearing, but you hear it, of course, because wouldn't it be weird if people purchase jewelry like they purchase groceries, right? Imagine that for a moment. People purchasing jewelry like they purchase groceries. It's never going to bloody happen. So expect to hear this objection. People need to justify it to some degree. They need to say, oh, you know, it's a lot of money. I don't know about that because it is jewelry. Like this is the thing. It's funny though as well because when thinking about it, right? How many customers do you also think when they walked into that jewelry store thought, oh my God, everything here is so cheap? It's so counterintuitive to think that way, right? So of course a customer is going to be thinking things are expensive, and most people, and 90% of customers knew that before they even walked into the store. So first of all, I'm going to give you a way of handling that objection, but this is a little bit more of a direct way. So you need to, you know, kind of build some rapport with the customer as well. And they say, yeah, you know what, everything here, I don't know, I just can't get it. I think it's too expensive. And then you can simply reply back by saying, yeah, but I'm sure you also knew that before you got into the store as well, right? And then just continue. But you're not just before you got into the store as well, right? And you're just nodding your head and then you continue with the sale. So that's a big part of it. You're not going to say, oh, and I'm sure you knew it was too, I'm sure you already knew that before you got into the store, and then wait for like their confirmation before continuing, because the customer's trying to use that basically as a stall to say, you know what, I think it's all too expensive. But that can work as well. It is a little bit more direct. So again, you know, feel out what's right. Now, also, if the customer is saying it's too expensive, does the customer own something similar? What is their comparison? A person that's buying their first piece of jewelry compared to a person that's buying their 10th piece of jewelry has a total different price comparison as well. The person that's purchased 10 pieces of jewelry might still be comparing the price of the piece of jewelry that they purchased that looks similar, but they purchased that piece 5 years ago or 10 years ago as well. And now they're wondering, why is it so much more now for me to buy something that looks similar? And that might be their comparison for a person that's regularly purchased as well. So, or a person that's never purchased before, they have nothing to really compare to. So with that first piece, that might be the comparison as their comparison towards nothing. So, you know, with price, don't take it personally, you have to take it objectively as well. And is this the stall or the real objection? Have you tried to isolate it? For example, when the customer says, it is too expensive, I don't know if I can get that. Then say back to the customer, well, you know what, how about if this piece that you're looking at the moment, if it was the perfect price for you, is there anything else stopping you from moving forward today with making that purchase? And you know, sometimes the customer will say, no, it is just the price. And then that's perfect, because then you've isolated it to know, okay, it is just the price. Now, do you have financing options in your jewelry store that you're working in, for example? Could you simply just go down the route of offering financing to the customer? Could you go down the route of maybe the customer has mentioned to you during the purchase that they really love the size of this piece, but maybe you've tried to sell that customer a piece that really has that nice size but is quite high in color and quite high in clarity. So maybe you have a piece that's even maybe a little bit bigger, but the color and clarity is a few steps down, and that piece actually costs a little bit less but looks even a little bit bigger. So you're still going towards what the customer likes by downselling towards something else as well. So it could be that, for example, but make sure to isolate this objection and really get down to the route of, Is it this? Sometimes the customer might say, you know what, no, I just don't know. And then you have to offer some of these objections for the customer to actually be able to grab onto. Like, is it the color of the gold? Would you like white gold instead of yellow gold? But of course, if you're offering objections, you need to have a solution for those as well. So now I'm not going to cover all the solutions in this video, but in future videos as well, this is something I am going to talk more about. And also, don't forget, when actually isolating this about price, some people will actually end up wanting to buy something that is bigger and more expensive as well. Just the fact that you haven't shown it to them, they just don't relate enough value to the current piece that you're showing them. So don't be afraid to also show them something that does cost more. And now let's move on to the spouse objection as well. My husband, my wife, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, they're not here in the store. So I'm so sorry, you've been so helpful. So I'm going to get back to you. Now, we're gonna get right past this now. So, first one that I really like to use is, if you're like me and you know your partner, if they knew that you were here, shopping here today, what do you think they would say about you making this purchase? Would they say yes? Would they say no? You know, would they say get it, or would they say don't get it? Then wait for what the customer's going to say, or you could even offer some suggestions as well for them to grab a hold of. You know, would they, after they say yes, they would say yes, get it, and it's perfect, because then you've already moved through this objection of, you know, my partner's not here. Because if the partner was here, you know, the person standing in front of you is saying that yes, you know, my partner would say to get it. Otherwise, if they say, oh, my partner would probably say no, then you have to offer these suggestions. So these suggestions could be, would they say no to the piece itself? Would they say no to the price? Or would they say no to something else around it? And then wait for what the customer is going to say. You know, if it's a piece, then get particular with the customer. Is it the gemstone that's in the center? Is it the diamond? Is it the size of it as well? Is it the color of gold that goes with it? Let's say, is it the price? If it's the price, make sure to say, you know, well, do you think your partner would say it's too cheap or it's too expensive? Because you would be surprised, and you know, you're going to get a lot of laughs out of it. It'll break some tension around like a tense moment like this as well. So it's great to be able to say, you know, do you think your partner would say it's too cheap or too expensive? Make sure to say both. Give both of those options as well. Because you will be surprised if you actually say this. Some people might actually say, yeah, I think my partner, you know, my partner really loves buying me all of this expensive stuff. This is a common thing, especially if you work in a jewelry store, that partners love treating the other partner with something really nice and sometimes really expensive. You know, expensive being a very relative word again towards the situation that you're in. Or you have the cheeky, upfront, and direct route as well. Again, dependent on the situation and your connection with the customer there in the store. By simply saying, you know what, it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. Why don't you just get it? And again, this can actually work. You have to try these things as well, but again, base it on the situation that's in front of you as well. You know, the reality of this is people buy things all of the time without their partner's permission, from all different price points and all different price ranges. You know, some relationships, people don't share the money that they earn as well, so the money might just be coming from the person that's standing in front of you, so they don't really need to ask for their partner's permission in the first place as well. You know, this is the reality of what we live in. This again could be a total stall. You can use that isolation thing, the isolation of the objection as well, just like I mentioned with money. So, you know, if your partner was here, what do you think they would say? What do you think they would say? You know, perfect, yes or no. Again, use this isolation part. It really does help. Now, of course, those are the 3 points. Hopefully, these 3 points will help you as well with dealing with some of the objections you do come across when you are working in the jewelry store that you're in as well. Now, what I would recommend for you to do as well is scroll on down into the description and click this link to be able to download Everyone is a Salesperson. This is a PDF report written by Brian Tracy. Brian Tracy is a master of sales. If you have not read some of his books as well, I'll leave a couple links down to Amazon so you can download some of his books as well, or buy some of the paperbacks of his books. But The Psychology of Selling, Goal Setting, oh my God, he is the man. So if you're just starting within the sales industry and you're really been struggling with handling objections, especially within the luxury field, like what we're relatively talking to about here, he has so many applicable solutions for you. So make sure to download that free report. Everyone is a salesperson. It's writing down there in the description. Download that as well. Now here is what's going to happen in part number 6, the next part of this 10-part jewelry sales training course. In part number 6, we're going to talk about stories that sell, romanticizing the gemstone itself, because you can talk about sparkle, you can talk about brilliance, you can talk about how beautiful that pendant looks on you. I'll need to put on sunglasses, it's so bright, the scintillation of it is just absolutely stunning. You could talk about that, or you could talk about the connection between Christian jewelry and bloodstone as well, how bloodstone actually resembles the same, bloodstone to a degree actually resembles the blood that was at the bottom of the cross. Or you could talk about eyelight and how a thin piece of eyelight was used by the Vikings to help with navigation when they were trying to navigate the 7 seas. You could romanticize things, you can tell so much more in a story that's going to remind the customer so much more about why they purchase this gemstone as well, because of the story connected to it, and not just simply the beauty or the brilliance of that piece of jewelry. Now that's what's in store in part number 6. Make sure as well to subscribe to the channel too, and click that bell icon. This way you'll be notified when the next video is out. We'll see you in part number 6.